Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Samdope. If it's your first time watching my video, make sure you like and subscribe if you want to watch more, and leave the comment below if you want me to do anything, even though my videos are not that interesting, but they are really informative, because I always share things when I experience and when I go through different stages, and I always like to share things because there are many people in the world who some of them might be going through the same situation. So yes, so I'm sharing because I want to share. Okay, so today my topic is more about something interesting. Since I did Q&As on my Instagram, I got plenty of questions about personal life and professional life, but I've made separate video for personal life and professional life Q&As. And when I dig into those questions, I found some really interesting topics which I could work on it. So the first thing is how I started my first book, which I already uploaded it. And the second one is how you started your yoga career, as well as how you started nursing. So today I'm just going to talk about my yoga journey. So after year 12, you know, when you're waiting for your result and you have like a month or two break in between. So when I came out of my school, it was literally very challenging because you lived in your school for whole life, like almost for 12 years, and then after that you came out of the school and faced the society, and you have no idea how society works and how society treats you and how society runs, right? So it was such a challenging moment. But then after year 12, I just went to see my mom at Dharamsala. So I stayed there with her on my breaks, but it was like too long, you know, like two months is too long. So I thought I should do something, but I had no idea what to do. At the same time, I was working on my you know, college. I was just listing my college where to apply on the basis of my my course, because I always wanted to be a psychologist and plus a counselor. So I wanted to go to a psychology college, the best psychology college, because I knew that I would get good marks on my exam, because I worked so hard to be able to go into a good college. So yeah, so year 12, and my mom said, you should do something in this couple of months, or you should just travel or go somewhere. And I was like, no mom, I can't travel, because obviously you have no idea, like outside of the world, outside of your school, you have no idea how they are. So I was a bit scared to go travel by myself, even it was so hard for us to afford. So yeah, and then my mom, she used to go for a yoga class at Pematang. If you lived at Dharamsala, you probably have an idea. So she goes to Pematang to practice yoga, and one day she said, why don't you join with us, because it might be really helpful for you. Plus I had constipation most of my school life, and I've gained a lot of weight. So I went with her to practice yoga, and I really enjoyed it. There are like a couple of people and a teacher, Venerable Lobsang Töndenla. He is such a kind person. He was such a kind person. He helped a lot of people to improve their health and to spread awareness about the health, because you know, in our society, we back then we didn't have much knowledge or idea about the health. Plus mental health is, I would say mental health is literally zero. Mental health support is literally zero. So yeah, I went there, I started practicing with them, and then I was only I was the youngest student at that time. And then every time, like every single day, I really enjoyed it. And then he noticed me, and then one time he was going to Rishikesh, Baba Ramdev's ashram. So he offered to all the students if anybody wants to come and join with him. But I really wanted to go there, but I was like, oh well, I can't afford it, because I didn't have any money. I have never worked in my life until after year 12. So I've never worked in my school life, and I didn't have any pocket money or anything. So I was like, Mom, no, I can't go, but I really want to go, but you know, we can't afford. And then Mom was like, it's okay, this is a good chance, you should go. And then I approached to my teacher, and I asked him if he could take me with him. And he was so happy, he said, of course, I would love to take you. And there is another student as well, so we all decided to go together. And he helped me for every single thing, because initially he didn't say anything, but eventually when I achieved my yoga goals and all, he told me that I knew from the very moment, like from the first day, I recognized you, and I knew that you can be a really good teacher. You can be someone who could reach out to people and help them. So he was really happy to guide me all through it. So I went to Baba Ramdev ashram. I stayed there, I studied with Baba Ramdev. We practiced a lot. It was like you need to wake up early in the morning, like 1:30, and then you need to practice for like almost for 12 hours, because with him you have certain time, and then after that outside you have to practice a lot, because the next day you have to present. And it was like so productive, and it was so amazing that I can't even express how it was. And my teacher, he was so supportive, and I'm really grateful. And he's my best friend. He was my best friend, he is my best friend, and he'll remain forever in my heart. Yeah, and then I came back, and he had to go back to Italy, because he lives in Italy. Every time he come to India to promote health awareness in our society. And back then there was not many people who practiced yoga or who are into yoga. So eventually he told me that you are my student, and I'm giving you an opportunity to express yourself. I'm giving you an opportunity to reach out to the people, and I want to see your skills and talent and your compassion, kindness, and everything. So he gave me a chance to work in his studio, use his studio and use his apartment. So he went back to Italy for 6 months, and for 6 months I lived in his apartment. I lived with his yoga studio, and I started to teach yoga to people. But initially, of course, I had only like three students, including my best friend. So she's in America at the moment. If you're watching, you know how we started the journey. So her name is Nudu, and we had other 2 monks. So we started practicing. I started teaching whatever I have learned, and then I think they really got my skills. They really got my genuine teaching, and they started to spread. Like they started to call their friends, and eventually it ended up like 50 students every morning. So that's the average, 50 students every morning. And oh my god, it's so productive, and I was so happy that I was able to do that. Even though I was not getting any money, there was no income at all, but I was editing my book that time. At the same time, I was teaching, like every morning and every evening I teach. And then in that way I became more explorer. I started to connect with people. And then my teacher was also so happy, and he decided to invite me to, well, not he, including him, with help of him and his institution, Buddhist institution in Italy. They decided to invite me there, because they were so amazed, they were so surprised, because that time I was the youngest Tibetan yoga instructor in Tibet and in exile. So I was going through a lot of interviews by different journalism, so it was like quite of social media time at that time, but I wasn't really into the interview. But I thought, oh, maybe this might help to people, and this might help to promote health awareness in our society at least. So yeah, and then after that I started to give classes to different people, different group. In that way I can get a little money, but my price was never fixed. But one day one of my friends said, well, Sam, you are really cheap. And I was like, wow, what's the problem? And then she was like, well, you are giving every lesson free, but you know, in that way you are giving your time to them. And I was like, yeah, of course I know that. And she was like, at least you should charge them, people will not value you. And I said, well, my intention is not that. Even our teacher, he's not getting any money from anybody, but he never underestimates his skill, and nobody underestimates him, and everybody respects him. I am doing this because I want to promote health awareness in my society. Plus, there are many people who doesn't speak English and Hindi. They won't understand a word from a foreigner yoga instructor. So I'm trying my best to teach in Tibetan so that everybody can understand. At least someone can learn something and they can start teaching to someone else. So every time at the end of my class, I would say, please share this yoga skill. Please share whatever you have learned to someone else, but never try to teach or share your knowledge to impress someone. Because when you there is a difference when you try to teach to help them or to spread awareness, and when you try to teach to impress someone. There is a huge difference, because you could literally feel that. So I always say that just do it from your heart to help someone else, not to get benefit or to impress or to advertise yourself. So it's like, well, I'm happy whatever I'm doing, but with the Tibetan people, with my current student, I'm not going to charge anything, because this studio is a gift from our teacher and I'm just inheriting his gift. So apart from that, I had different, so when I started socializing, I had different people from different countries, and I usually give them lessons. And for a month or two, I also practiced with some skilled yoga, like trained yoga teacher. So I've done like quite a lot of things when I was 18s and 19s, because with the certified yoga teachers and with the skilled yoga instructor or practitioner, I learn with them, I practice with them every morning, and then in return I guide them, I spend time with them to give a tour. So in that way I developed my yoga. Plus I practice every single day, not just to practice, it's just to learn and experience. And when you learn and experience, and when you share that with someone else, there is a different taste, there is a different product. So there is always a happiness that you receive when you could share your things with others genuinely. So this is how I started practicing in a daily practice. And then eventually I wanted to do something big, because at the same time I've lost my scholarship and I had to withdraw from my university and all. I've also made videos on all those things, so if you could watch them, you'll understand the journey. So yeah, and I wanted to be a certified yoga instructor, because there were also few professional journalism. They wanted to have an interview with me, and sometimes like couple of them called me. And they asked, are you a certified yoga instructor? I said, no, I am a self-practitioner. I practice myself and then I teach other people. And they were like, well, okay, and why don't you do your course, or why don't you go to school and practice it? Well, I said, I can't afford it. It's all about financial, so I can't afford it. In that way, I always connect with all those journalism and media. And then one day, out of nowhere, I received an unknown call. So it was after a year. It was the time before my yoga teacher passed away. So it was such a time where I've adjusted a lot, because I received an unknown call, and then I picked it up, and it was a Tibetan man. He said, hey, I'm calling from Virginia University. So I heard that you are such a, so they started saying, oh, you are the youngest yoga instructor in Tibet, and we heard your hard work, you are such a genuine person, you are helping a lot of people. And he said, why don't you start studying? And I said, well, I can't afford it, it's for sure, I can't afford it. I can't even afford to go somewhere by my own, because I didn't work and we didn't have that money to, for travels and all. There is no money in our portion for enjoyment. So yes, and he was like, we want to sponsor you. And I was like, huh? I didn't really I was actually surprised, and I thought someone is pranking me. And I was like, well, I'm sure you are from someone like journalism or media group who's trying to test me, but I'm sorry, I'm not interested in it. And he was like, well, trust me, I'm not just saying it, I don't need anything from your skill. I think you are someone who can do something to our nation, who can do something to the people who is doing something for the nation, even if it's not for a long time, at least you're doing it now. And I was like, okay, I need to think about it. And I said, it costs a lot of money. It's not like few $1,000 or few thousand rupees and all. And well, he said it's okay, you just go search your yoga school and see which one you want to go, and just let me know the price. I was so shocked, and I was like, well, that's not possible, but I said thank you. And then after a week, he called me again. He said, have you decided where you want to go? And I said, I don't want to go far away because I've now traveled too far, but I want to go somewhere which is closer, because I lived in Dharamsala at that time, and there are like plenty of ashrams, and I know a few Tibetan people also went there to practice, and even my friends, they went to study there. So I was like, well, I know a few people went there and they have a really good recommendations and good reviews, but it costs what do you say, 110, 100,000, 10,000. I said 100,000. Sorry, my math is so bad. So I said it's 100,000 rupees. So it's obviously like a lot. It does not include the room. It's just for practice and study. And he was like, well, yes, of course, just send me your ID, we'll send you the money. And he said he was not doing the sponsor for me. There is someone else in US, he's like super rich, he wants to sponsor you. And I said, well, I don't know that man, and if I could see him or if I could talk to him, that would be nice. And he said, well, he doesn't really he's not into phones or social media or anything, but he just want to give something to someone who's doing good to the world and good to the society. And he's a very good supporter for Tibetan. So I was like, okay. But even then I was like shocked, and I couldn't believe that. I was like, okay. And then I sent my ID, and he said, well, hey, we just sent you money, go and get it. I was like so surprised, and I'm like, 100,000 rupees, how are you gonna hold it? You have never ever holds like few thousand in your life, so how are you going to hold 100,000 rupees on your hand? I was like so scared, and I told my mom, there is someone who wants to sponsor me, but he said he already sent me money. And mom was like, did you check properly? You know, you always need to know who is helping you, what's the intention and all. I said, Mom, I've already asked him everything. He does not need anything. He is just appreciating my work. And he said it's a gift. He said, just think it as a gift from one of your fan. So that's what I told my mom. And I also talked to my yoga teacher. I said, hey, I got an offer. There's someone who wants to sponsor me. And he said, well, it's a gift. Just think it is a gift. You are already helping a lot of people, and then it's okay if you could receive something from someone else. And I said, I'm not sure if I should receive that. And then my teacher said, you have always work from your heart. You have never expected anything in your life, so this is the time that you should receive when someone is appreciating you. And then he advised me in a really, really good way. And then I went to Western Union. I received money, and I was like so scared, but it's like bunch of money. Like imagine 100,000 rupees, which would be, I don't know, a few $1,000s, US dollar. So I was so scared. So I took someone with me, one of my American lady friend. I took her, and then we went to admit to the yoga school, and then I started yoga. I studied there I studied there, but I was unable to pay the rent, so I went back to home, and then I come back in the morning until night, and then I go home, and my mom, she would always prepare lunch for me. So it was such a nice time. It was such a nice and amazing time that I spent with all those Westerners, and I was only the Tibetan that time. So and the youngest. So I was so proud. I was so proud that I was doing a lot of things at that age. And yes, and that way I started my yoga journey. And after I got the certificate, there are a lot of social medias and journalism from all over the world started contacting me, and they asked me if I want to do interviews and all. Because before, when I didn't have my certificate, they were like, oh well, you should go and get the certificate, that's it. And nobody said anything. But once I got the certificate, they were like, So one of the youngest yoga instructor in Tibet, one of the youngest yoga instructor in exile, and and I became the headline of every news. But yeah, so in that way I started my yoga journey, and after that I started teaching and I started to practice a lot. Eventually the reason I did the course was not to start my own business or not to start a yoga class. It was just that I needed a professional experience. I needed a professional support. That's why I went to yoga school and did studied that. And yoga has always been my best friend, and yoga has always supported me for a lot of things, and it also helps me to give something to someone else, because that's the skill that it always remained in me, and it's gonna go with me forever. So that's my journey, yoga journey. And yeah, if you ever want to do something, never ever give up. Whatever you're doing to others or to yourself, make sure you do it from your heart, and be nice, be kind, stay safe, mask on, sanitize, and stay hydrated. That's it. And if you have more questions, please leave the comment down below. And this video is quite long, but I try to make it in a short, like long story short. Okay, so this is how I revealed my yoga journey. I've never spoken that to anyone until now, but I think this is the way how I can express my gratitude to those people who supported me, who trust me, who walked with me throughout my journey. And thank you so much for everybody, and especially the one who sponsored me for my yoga school. And yeah, thank you everybody, and see you next time.